The year is 2024. The music industry holds its breath. Sean Diddy Combs, the name synonymous with success, innovation, and an empire built on beats and branding, finds himself on a precipice. This isn't about a chart battle or a business rivalry. This is about allegations so serious, so dark, they threaten to unravel the very fabric of his carefully crafted persona. How did a man who seemingly embodied the American dream, who rose from the streets of Harlem to become a global icon, find himself facing accusations that could shatter his legacy? This isn't just a story about one man's fall from grace. It's a stark reminder that behind the blinding lights of fame and fortune, shadows often lurk. It's a story that compels us to confront uncomfortable truths about power, influence, and the abuse that can fester behind closed doors, even in the most glamorous of worlds. This is the story of Sean Diddy Combs' descent from the pinnacle of success into the heart of a legal firestorm. To understand the depth of this fall, we must first rewind. We must revisit the rise of Sean Combs, the ambitious young man who took the music industry by storm. The world soon bore witness to the birth of Bad Boy Records, a label that would become synonymous with a new era of hip-hop. The Notorious Big, Craig Mack, Faith Evans, and a roster of groundbreaking artists shot to stardom under Combs' guidance. From music to fashion, film, and entrepreneurship, Diddy's ambition knew no bounds. But as his star continued to ascend, so did the whispers. The world saw the lavish parties, the red carpets, the seemingly endless parade of success. But what lurked beneath the surface of this carefully constructed facade? As with any story of immense power, whispers of a different narrative began to circulate. Whispers of a ruthlessness that bordered on aggression, of a temper that flared with the intensity of 1,000 suns, and of a personal life shrouded in secrecy and punctuated by controversy. There were rumors of altercations, whispers of mistreatment, and allegations of misconduct that swirled like storm clouds gathering on the horizon. Yet for years, these whispers remained just that, whispers. Drowned out by the roar of Diddy's success, they were easily dismissed as the price of fame, the inevitable byproduct of a life lived in the fast lane. The public, captivated by his charm and entranced by his success, seemed willing to overlook the whispers, to attribute them to the cost of genius, the burden of ambition. But behind the dazzling smile and the carefully curated persona, a storm was brewing, one that threatened to unleash chaos upon Diddy's carefully constructed world. Over time, the whispers grew louder, the shadows deeper. The allegations against Diddy began to take on a more sinister tone, moving beyond rumors of a fiery temper to accusations of a far more disturbing nature. There were murmurs of exploitation, of a system of abuse that preyed on the vulnerable and silenced dissent with threats and intimidation. The year 2008 marked a turning point. A former girlfriend, Cassie, came forward with accusations that sent shockwaves through the industry. She alleged a pattern of abuse, manipulation, and control that spanned years. Her story, though shocking, was not entirely surprising. It aligned with the whispers, lending them a chilling credibility that could no longer be ignored. Then more voices emerged from the shadows. Other individuals, connected to Diddy through his vast business empire, came forward with their own harrowing accounts. Accusations of forced labor, of coercion, of being trapped in a web of power they felt powerless to escape, painted a disturbing picture of a man who allegedly used his influence to control and manipulate those around him. Section 5. A legacy tarnished? As the allegations mounted, so did the scrutiny. The world watched, captivated and horrified as the seemingly impenetrable facade of Sean Diddy Combs began to crack. The man who had built an empire on charisma and confidence now faced accusations that struck at the very core of his carefully cultivated image. The legal battles commenced, each lawsuit, each accusation chipping away at the carefully constructed edifice of Diddy's public persona. The accusations weren't just salacious gossip, they were serious criminal charges, carrying the weight of potential prison time. The stakes were higher than ever before. Could this be the end of an era? Would the man who had reached the pinnacle of success, who had amassed unimaginable wealth and influence, be brought down by the alleged darkness that had long lurked beneath the surface? The world held its breath, waiting to see if justice would prevail, or if power and influence would, once again, silence the whispers of truth. Section 6. The world watches and waits. The year 2024 finds Sean Diddy Combs at a crossroads, his future hanging precariously in the balance. The allegations against him are not mere whispers anymore, they are a deafening roar, echoing through courtrooms and across social media. The world is watching, waiting to see if the man who once seemed invincible will be held accountable for his alleged actions. Will justice be served, or will power and influence prevail, allowing Diddy's empire to weather yet another storm? This is a story far from over, a story that will continue to unfold in the months and years to come. It is a story that forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the nature of power, the price of fame, and the long shadow cast by secrets. This is a story that demands our attention, our scrutiny, and our unwavering commitment to seeking justice for those who have been silenced for far too long. The world is watching, and the world will be watching. The fall of an icon is a spectacle, but the pursuit of justice is a necessity. Section 1. The walls close in. The year 2024 marked a turning point in the Sean Diddy Combs saga. The whispers transformed into a deafening roar, forcing the music mogul to confront the accusations head-on. The walls were closing in, and the stakes had never been higher. The charges levied against Combs were not to be taken lightly. The man who had once seemed untouchable now faced the very real possibility of a future behind bars. Section 2. A decade of alleged abuse. The accusations against Sean Diddy Combs spanned over a decade, painting a disturbing timeline of alleged abuse and manipulation. Starting from 2008, the indictment suggested a pattern of behavior that pointed to a man who allegedly used his position of power to control and exploit those around him. The charges were wide-ranging and incredibly serious, encompassing allegations of racketeering, sex trafficking, coercion, and forced labor. These weren't isolated incidents, they were presented as interconnected pieces of a larger puzzle, a puzzle that revealed a darker side to the music mogul's carefully curated persona. Each accusation, each alleged victim, added a new layer of complexity to the case, exposing a potential underbelly of exploitation and abuse that had allegedly been operating beneath the surface of Combs' glamorous world for years. Section 3. The freak-offs parties or predatory schemes. At the heart of the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs lay the disturbing accusations surrounding what were known as freak-offs. These events, described by some as drug-fueled sex parties, were allegedly a regular occurrence in Combs' inner circle, taking place at his various residences and private venues. While Combs' defense team would later argue that these gatherings were consensual and simply a reflection of his client's lavish lifestyle, the prosecution painted a far more sinister picture. They alleged that these freak-offs were not simply parties, but carefully orchestrated events designed to exploit and abuse vulnerable individuals. The prosecution alleged that Combs used his wealth and influence to lure young women and men, many aspiring artists or individuals hoping to make their mark in the entertainment industry, into compromising and often dangerous situations. They claimed that drugs and alcohol flowed freely, often used to lower inhibitions and make individuals more susceptible to coercion.
Section 4. Cassie Speaks Out. A story of control and fear. One of the most compelling and heartbreaking voices to emerge from the shadows was that of Cassie Ventura, a singer and model who had been romantically linked to Sean Diddy Combs for over a decade. Her story, detailed in court documents and media interviews, painted a harrowing picture of a relationship marred by alleged emotional and physical abuse, manipulation, and control. Cassie's accusations sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. She claimed that Combs exerted an almost suffocating level of control over her life, dictating everything from her career choices to her appearance. She alleged that he monitored her phone calls, manipulated her finances, and isolated her from her friends and family. perhaps most disturbing, were Cassie's allegations of physical abuse. She claimed that Combs had been physically violent with her on multiple occasions, leaving her feeling trapped and terrified. Her story, courageous in its honesty, gave a human face to the allegations against Combs, revealing the devastating impact of his alleged actions on those closest to him.
Section 5. Beyond Cassie, a chorus of accusations. While Cassie's story provided a deeply personal and impactful glimpse into the alleged abuse within Sean Diddy Combs' inner circle, she was far from the only voice to speak out against the music mogul. As the investigation progressed, a chorus of accusations emerged from individuals who had crossed paths with Combs through his various business ventures and social circles. These accusations painted a broader, even more disturbing picture of Combs' alleged behavior. Former employees, business associates, and individuals who had attended his infamous freak-offs came forward with their own accounts of manipulation, coercion, and abuse. A pattern began to emerge, one that suggested a systematic abuse of power that extended far beyond a single romantic relationship. There were allegations of sexual assault, of individuals being pressured into unwanted sexual acts with the promise of career advancement or under the threat of professional blacklisting. There were claims of financial impropriety, of Combs using his wealth and influence to exploit business partners and silence potential whistleblowers. Section 6. Trapped in the system, the allegations of forced labor. As the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs mounted, a particularly disturbing theme began to emerge: the exploitation of aspiring artists and workers within his vast business empire. The prosecution alleged that Combs used his influence and power to coerce individuals into working for little or no pay, trapping them in a system that benefited him while offering them little more than false promises and the fear of retaliation. These allegations struck at the heart of Combs' carefully cultivated image as a self-made man, a symbol of the American dream. The prosecution argued that his success was built, in part, on the backs of individuals who were lured in with the promise of stardom or financial security, only to find themselves trapped in a system that treated them as disposable assets. There were stories of unpaid internships, of grueling work schedules with no overtime compensation, and of individuals being forced to perform tasks that went far beyond their job descriptions. The prosecution alleged that Combs used a combination of charisma, intimidation, and empty promises to keep these individuals silent and compliant. Section 7. Silence, bought and sold, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Accusations against Sean Diddy Combs took a sinister turn. The prosecution alleged witness tampering and obstruction of justice. Combs used wealth to silence those who spoke out. Evidence of hush money payments, threats against witnesses, and attempts to discredit accusers. These allegations painted a picture of a man willing to pervert justice. The charges added complexity and seriousness to the case. Even his critics were shocked by his disregard for the law. Combs faced a reckoning he couldn't escape.
Diddy's defense a case of consensual relationships? As allegations against Sean Diddy Combs mounted, his legal team launched a vigorous defense. They portrayed him as a target of opportunistic individuals. Their strategy centered on portraying the relationships as consensual. Combs' attorneys argued that the freak-offs were simply extravagant parties. They claimed any sexual encounters were entirely consensual, between adults free to make their own choices. They sought to portray Combs as deeply flawed, but not a criminal.
Inside the courtroom, a high-stakes battle begins. The air crackled with tension inside the Manhattan federal courtroom. Sean Diddy Combs, once a fixture on red carpets, now sat at the defendant's table, his swagger replaced by a somber expression, facing a lengthy prison sentence. The weight of the accusations hung heavy in the air. The courtroom, packed with journalists and onlookers, braced for a clash between fame and justice.
The prosecution's case, painting a picture of a serial abuser. From the outset, the prosecution adopted an aggressive strategy, determined to dismantle Sean Diddy Combs' carefully crafted image and expose what they alleged was a pattern of predatory behavior spanning years. Their case, hinged on portraying Combs not as a flawed individual who had made some mistakes, but as a calculated and manipulative serial abuser who used his wealth, power, and influence to control and exploit vulnerable individuals. They meticulously presented evidence they claimed supported their accusations: financial records detailing questionable transactions, phone records suggesting attempts to silence witnesses, and testimony from alleged victims who recounted harrowing experiences of coercion, manipulation, and abuse at the hands of Combs. They painted a picture of a man who allegedly used his charisma and charm to lure individuals into his orbit, only to later exploit them for his own gratification or professional gain. They argued that Combs's alleged actions were not isolated incidents, but rather indicative of a deeply ingrained pattern of behavior that demonstrated a callous disregard for the well-being of others.
Section 3. A web of complicity. The alleged role of Combs' inner circle. The prosecution's case extended beyond Sean Diddy Combs himself, reaching into his inner circle and implicating those who allegedly aided and abetted his behavior. They argued that Combs' alleged crimes were often carried out with the knowledge and assistance of individuals who were either blinded by loyalty, motivated by greed, or simply too afraid to speak out against their powerful benefactor. They presented evidence suggesting that Combs' assistants were often tasked with procuring drugs or arranging transportation for women to and from his residences, allegedly turning a blind eye to the true nature of these requests. They alleged that Combs' security team was used to intimidate potential witnesses or silence those who threatened to expose his alleged misconduct. The prosecution argued that this alleged web of complicity was instrumental in allowing Combs' alleged behavior to continue unchecked for years. By creating an environment where silence was rewarded and dissent was swiftly quashed, Combs allegedly surrounded himself with individuals who were either unwilling or unable to challenge his authority, perpetuating a culture of fear and enabling his alleged abuse of power.
Section 4. Denied. Bail. A sign of the charge's severity. Sean Diddy Combs was denied bail, signaling the seriousness of the charges against him. The judge's decision underscored the gravity of the situation. The prosecution argued Combs posed a flight risk and a danger to the community. They cited his access to private jets and international connections. Combs' legal team denied these allegations and vowed to appeal. Despite their efforts, Combs was remanded into custody. Section 5. A landmark case, holding the powerful accountable. The legal battle surrounding Sean Diddy Combs transcended a typical celebrity scandal, evolving into a landmark case. Combs' fame, wealth, and influence fueled public outrage, demanding scrutiny from the legal system. The case sparked a broader conversation about accountability and power dynamics. It forced the entertainment industry to confront uncomfortable truths about abuse.
The #MeToo movement, a reckoning for the entertainment industry. The allegations against Sean Diddy Combs emerged amidst a backdrop of heightened awareness and activism surrounding issues of sexual misconduct and abuse of power, fueled in large part by the #MeToo movement. What began as a hashtag, a whisper of shared experiences and outrage, had evolved into a global reckoning, empowering survivors to come forward and demanding accountability from perpetrators and the institutions that protected them. The entertainment industry, long shrouded in secrecy and often dismissive of allegations of misconduct, found itself at the epicenter of this cultural shift. High-profile figures who had once seemed untouchable, their actions shielded by wealth and influence, were suddenly facing consequences for their alleged actions. The #MeToo movement created an environment where allegations against powerful figures like Combs were no longer easily dismissed or silenced. It fostered a sense of solidarity among survivors, emboldening them to come forward and share their stories, knowing they were not alone and that their voices would be heard.
Legal precedents, echoes of Cosby and Weinstein. As the legal battle against Sean Diddy Combs unfolded, it drew comparisons to other high-profile cases that had shaken the entertainment industry and beyond. Cases that had set legal precedents and shifted societal norms regarding accountability for sexual misconduct and abuse of power. The spectre of Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein, once revered figures brought down by a cascade of allegations and ultimately held accountable for their actions, loomed large over the proceedings. Cosby's conviction on multiple counts of sexual assault and Weinstein's conviction on charges of rape and criminal sexual act sent a powerful message that even the most powerful and celebrated figures were not above the law. These cases demonstrated that, with compelling evidence and a chorus of credible accusers, justice could prevail, even against individuals who had long enjoyed impunity. The Combs case, while distinct in its specific allegations and circumstances, shared a common thread with these earlier cases: the alleged abuse of power by a prominent figure, the alleged silencing of victims through intimidation or financial settlements, and the courage of individuals who came forward to break the cycle of abuse.
As of today, May 24, 2024, Sean Diddy Combs remains in custody, awaiting trial on the numerous charges against him. The legal battle, with its complex web of accusations, evidence, and legal arguments, is far from over. The world watches, holding its breath, as the wheels of justice slowly turn, the weight of the allegations and the potential consequences hanging heavy in the air. Combs' legal team, known for its tenacity and skill, is preparing a vigorous defense, meticulously scrutinizing the prosecution's case, searching for inconsistencies and weaknesses they can exploit. They are likely to employ a multifaceted strategy, challenging the credibility of accusers, highlighting inconsistencies in their accounts, and emphasizing the consensual nature of any relationships at the heart of the allegations. The prosecution, armed with what they believe to be a strong case, will present their evidence and call witnesses to the stand, aiming to convince the jury of Combs' guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. They will likely rely on the consistency of the accusations, the alleged pattern of behavior, and any evidence suggesting attempts to cover up wrongdoing. The potential fallout, a legacy on the brink. Regardless of the trial's outcome, the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs have irrevocably tarnished his legacy, casting a long shadow over his once impeccable image as a music mogul, entrepreneur, and cultural icon. The man who once seemed to embody the American dream, who rose from humble beginnings to achieve unimaginable success, now faces the very real possibility of his empire crumbling under the weight of his alleged actions. If found guilty, Combs faces a lengthy prison sentence, potentially marking the end of his career and leaving a permanent stain on his legacy. Even if acquitted, the damage to his reputation may be irreparable, making it difficult, if not impossible, to fully regain the public's trust and rebuild his brand. The case serves as a stark reminder that success, wealth, and fame are not shields against accountability. It underscores the importance of addressing allegations of abuse of power, regardless of the perpetrator's status or influence, and the need for a cultural shift that prioritizes the safety and well-being of all individuals, regardless of their profession or social standing.
In the Sean Diddy Combs case, the courtroom walls seem to reverberate not just with legal arguments and witness testimonies, but with the raw, unfiltered pain of those who alleged they had suffered at the hands of a man they once revered or trusted. The victims, once silenced by fear, intimidation, or the weight of non-disclosure agreements, found their voices, their stories painting a harrowing picture of alleged abuse, manipulation, and the devastating impact of Combs' alleged actions. Their stories were not confined to the sterile environment of the courtroom. They spilled out into the media, onto social media platforms, and into the court of public opinion. These were not just names on an indictment. They were individuals with families, dreams, and aspirations, their lives forever altered by their alleged encounters with Combs. Their voices, once muted by fear and doubt, now resonated with a collective strength. their individual experiences weaving together a tapestry of alleged abuse that challenged Combs' carefully constructed public persona and exposed what they claimed was a darker, more sinister side to the music mogul.
Cassie Ventura's decision to break her silence and publicly accuse Sean Diddy Combs of abuse sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond. Her story, a complex and often contradictory mix of love, loyalty, control, and fear, provided a stark and deeply personal glimpse into the alleged dynamics of their decade-long relationship. She described a whirlwind romance that quickly spiraled into a controlling and emotionally abusive relationship, with Combs allegedly dictating her career choices, isolating her from her support system, and monitoring her every move. She claimed that his love, while intense, was often conditional, contingent on her obedience and her willingness to conform to his expectations. Cassie's allegations of physical abuse painted an even more disturbing picture of the relationship. She claimed that Combs had been physically violent with her on multiple occasions, leaving her feeling trapped, terrified, and unsure of where to turn. Her decision to speak out, to break free from the silence that had shrouded their relationship for years, was a testament to her resilience and her determination to reclaim her narrative, to shed light on the alleged darkness that had lurked beneath the surface of their glamorous world.
Section 3. He Stole My Dreams. Aspiring artists share their stories. As the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs mounted, a recurring theme emerged: the alleged exploitation of aspiring artists and creatives drawn into Combs' orbit, with the promise of mentorship, collaboration, and a chance to achieve their dreams. Many of these individuals, young and eager to make their mark in the cutthroat world of music and entertainment, described feeling pressured to comply with Combs' demands, fearing that resistance would jeopardize their careers before they had even begun. They spoke of grueling work schedules, unpaid internships, and a constant pressure to prove their loyalty and dedication to Combs, even if it meant compromising their values or putting themselves in uncomfortable situations. Some alleged that Combs used his position of power to make sexual advances, implying that their careers hinged on their willingness to reciprocate. Their stories painted a picture of an industry where ambition could be easily exploited, where the allure of fame and fortune could blind individuals to the red flags, and where speaking out against a powerful figure like Combs could be tantamount to career suicide.
Section 4. The Price of Silence, NDAs, and the Culture of Fear. Allegations against Sean Diddy Combs include the use of non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, to silence victims and maintain a culture of fear. These NDAs, presented as standard in the entertainment industry, allegedly prevented individuals from speaking out, protecting Combs' reputation. Victims described feeling pressured to sign these agreements, often under duress. The threat of legal action or financial penalties created a chilling effect, preventing them from seeking help. This case highlights how powerful individuals can use legal tools to silence dissent and protect their interests.
Section 5. Beyond Physical Scars, the Lasting Trauma of Abuse. Allegations against Sean Diddy Combs include behaviors that leave lasting emotional and psychological scars. Victims spoke of emotional abuse, gaslighting, and manipulation that eroded their self-esteem. They described anxiety, panic attacks, nightmares, and difficulty trusting others. Rebuilding their lives and careers after such betrayal was challenging. Their stories highlight the need for greater awareness and support for all forms of abuse. Finding strength in numbers, the power of shared experiences. As more individuals came forward, a sense of community and shared purpose emerged. They found strength in numbers, creating a powerful chorus of voices. Support groups and social media became safe spaces for victims to connect and share their stories. The isolation that compounded their suffering began to dissipate. This sense of community emboldened victims to come forward and demand accountability. Demanding justice from whispers to a roar. The allegations against Sean Diddy Combs arose amidst the #MeToo movement. Victims, emboldened by the movement, demanded to be heard and see consequences. Their demands extended beyond Combs, calling for a systemic overhaul of the industry. They demanded a future where such behavior is no longer tolerated. Survivors should be believed and supported, with accountability as the norm. A turning point. Victims' voices reshape the narrative. The Sean Diddy Combs case marked a potential turning point in the entertainment industry. Victims' courage in coming forward forced a reassessment of power dynamics. Their voices shifted the focus from Combs' celebrity status to the alleged harm he inflicted. They highlighted the human cost of abuse and the need for a fundamental shift in attitudes. The case has already left an indelible mark, challenging the status quo.
More than a temper, unveiling a pattern of control. Allegations against Sean Diddy Combs reveal a potential pattern of manipulation and abuse. The story suggests a calculated approach, using his status to intimidate and silence. These allegations paint a picture of a man who allegedly used his power to control others. A system where loyalty brought rewards, dissent brought consequences, and silence was the price of survival. This pattern of control allegedly extended over years, creating a climate of fear. The price of success. Exploitation under the guise of opportunity. For many, Sean Diddy Combs embodied the American dream. His presence promised opportunity and a chance to achieve their own dreams. But for some, the dream allegedly soured, with accusations of exploitation. Combs' mentorship allegedly came at a cost, demanding loyalty and silencing dissent. The stories suggest a pattern of leveraging his influence to control careers and relationships. Drugs, power, and control, a toxic cocktail of abuse. A recurring theme in the accusations is the alleged use of drugs and alcohol as tools of manipulation. Accusers describe a party scene where Combs allegedly used substances to lower inhibitions. Several accusers claim that Combs used substances to impair their judgment. This alleged exploitation adds a layer of sinister calculation to the accusations. The culture of drugs and alcohol allegedly enabled a system of abuse. Section 4. Whispers turn to screams. The walls of silence crumble. For years, whispers about Sean Diddy Combs persisted. The power dynamics were clear, challenging him seemed unthinkable. But the #MeToo movement shifted the ground, emboldening others to come forward. The whispers grew louder, gaining momentum until they became impossible to ignore. The walls of silence, carefully constructed over years, were crumbling. Section 5. Unveiling the system, how Combs allegedly maintained control. The accusations suggest a calculated approach to silencing dissent and maintaining control. Allegations of NDAs being used to silence accusers are central to this narrative. These legal documents were allegedly used to buy the silence of those who might speak out. Beyond legal documents, accusers describe a culture of fear and intimidation. This created a climate where those who witnessed or experienced misconduct were less likely to speak out.
Section 6. Beyond the glitter. The human cost of alleged abuse. The allegations against Sean Diddy Combs are about human beings who allege they were manipulated and abused. Their stories remind us of the human cost of alleged abuse, the scars that run deeper than physical wounds. The accusations paint a picture of lives disrupted and dreams shattered. Victims describe lasting trauma, anxiety, and difficulty moving forward. The pursuit of justice requires acknowledging the profound impact of alleged abuse and supporting survivors.
The allegations against Sean Diddy Combs sent shockwaves through the music industry. The story of a powerful figure accused of using his influence to exploit and abuse echoed with a chilling resonance. Combs' case has forced a long overdue conversation about the dark side of the music business. It has shone a light on the power imbalances that can be exploited. The question now is whether this case will be a turning point, or just another scandal that fades from memory. Will the music industry confront its demons or continue to protect its own? One of the most significant impacts of the Sean Diddy Combs case has been the amplification of accusers' voices. For years, those who spoke out against powerful figures in the music industry were often silenced. The #MeToo movement has created a climate where such allegations are taken more seriously. The music industry is no longer immune to this global reckoning. The accusations against Combs have emboldened others to come forward. The balance of power is shifting as the voices of the accused gain traction.
Sean Diddy Combs' story was once held up as the epitome of hip-hop success. He was the self-made mogul, the hitmaker, the brand builder. His image was carefully crafted, his persona radiating charisma and confidence. The allegations against him have tarnished that image, perhaps irrevocably. Regardless of the trial's outcome, the accusations have cast a long shadow over his legacy. Combs' story serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that success and wealth are not shields against accountability.
Section 4. A new era of accountability, transparency, and consequences. The music industry has long operated with a sense of impunity. The Sean Diddy Combs case has brought the industry's lack of transparency and accountability into sharp focus. There is a growing demand for a new era of accountability, where allegations of abuse are taken seriously. This new era demands a fundamental shift in how the music industry operates, fostering a culture of respect and safety for all its members.
Section 5. The ripple effect. Industry-wide changes and challenges. The impact of the Sean Diddy Combs case extends far beyond one man's legal troubles. It has sparked a ripple effect throughout the music industry, prompting calls for reform, igniting difficult conversations, and forcing institutions to reevaluate their practices and priorities. Record labels, management companies, and other industry power brokers are under increasing pressure to address issues of sexual harassment, abuse of power, and exploitation within their ranks. There is a growing awareness of the need for clear reporting mechanisms, robust human resources departments, and a zero-tolerance policy for such behavior. However, achieving real and lasting change will require more than just lip service or superficial adjustments. It will necessitate a fundamental shift in the industry's culture, one that prioritizes the well-being and safety of all its members over the protection of powerful figures or the pursuit of profit at any cost. Section 6. The future of hip-hop, a genre at a crossroads. Hip-hop, born out of struggle and self-expression, reflects the world's complexities. The Sean Diddy Combs case has sparked debate about hip-hop's future and values. Some argue it highlights materialism and exploitation in the genre. Others see hip-hop as a reflection of society, not its cause. The case forces hip-hop to confront its truths and future.
As of today, May 24, 2024, the world watches and waits, holding its breath as the Sean Diddy Combs case inches closer to a trial date. The weight of anticipation hangs heavy in the air, a palpable tension that stretches from the crowded courtrooms of Manhattan to the sprawling mansions of Malibu, from the streets where hip-hop was born to the boardrooms where its future is shaped. Every move Combs makes, every legal maneuver, every public statement is scrutinized, analyzed, and debated ad nauseum in the court of public opinion. The media, insatiable in its hunger for updates and insights, dissects every detail, fueling a 24/7 news cycle that both reflects and amplifies the case's cultural significance. The pressure mounts with each passing day, a pressure cooker of anticipation, fear, and hope. For the alleged victims, the wait is agonizing, a test of their resilience and a reminder of the power dynamics at play. For Combs, the stakes have never been higher, his freedom, his legacy, and his very identity hanging in the balance.
Justice or mistrial? Navigating the legal labyrinth. The road to justice is rarely straight or swift. The Sean Diddy Combs case is a marathon, not a sprint. A grueling battle fought in the courtroom and the media, with reputations and legacies hanging in the balance. Combs' legal team is leaving no stone unturned. They are scrutinizing testimonies, challenging evidence, and highlighting inconsistencies. Combs is portrayed as a victim of his own success, targeted by opportunistic individuals. The prosecution is determined to hold Combs accountable. They will present their case methodically, calling witnesses and presenting documents. The possibility of a mistrial looms large, a reminder of the complexities of the legal system.
The Sean Diddy Combs case is not just about one man's alleged transgressions, it's about the potential unraveling of an empire. A cautionary tale about the fleeting nature of fame, fortune, and the perils of unchecked power. His business ventures, once seemingly invincible, are now vulnerable. Brands are distancing themselves, endorsements are drying up, the financial implications are staggering with legal fees mounting. Combs' net worth is now a dwindling resource. The unraveling of an empire is rarely a swift or clean affair.
A defining moment for an industry and a culture. The Sean Diddy Combs case is more than just a legal drama. It's a cultural moment, a defining chapter in the ongoing conversation about power and accountability. A guilty verdict would send shockwaves through the entertainment world, signaling a new era of accountability. It would be a victory for those who have long sought to hold abusers accountable. An acquittal would be a devastating blow to the #Me Too movement. Regardless of the outcome, the case has sparked a conversation about the abuse of power and the need for systemic change.
The legacy of a fallen icon. The Sean Diddy Combs case stands as a stark reminder that even the most untouchable icons can face a reckoning. His legacy is forever altered, a cautionary tale about power and its alleged abuse. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the music industry. The world is watching, the price of silence has never